Sunday quarterback time. The Huskers snap a 3-game losing streak to their rivals, the Colorado Buffaloes. 28-10, the final. Man, what a night here at Memorial Stadium. That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, the stage was set. I mean, Nebraska said, we're going to put everything on the table in this game tonight. We're going to have the 94 30th reunion. We're going to have Bud Crawford lead the team out of the tunnel. We're going to have over 60 recruits here, 42 that had Nebraska offers. Everything was on the table. NBC, national television, and they delivered. And Andy, it's been a while, and we've done this for a while now, where the stage has been like this and Nebraska has delivered. They've had so many opportunities like this night to deliver, and they weren't able to get it done. And granted, this was not a picture-perfect win by any means, but it was a good, solid win where you set the tone early and then you were able to play disciplined, fundamental football to finish out the game.
Yeah, they even had a drone show, and Frank Solich was being honored for going in the College Football Hall of Fame. And you mentioned Terrence Crawford. Man, it was fitting because this was kind of like a prize fight. A lot of chirping going on.
A lot of chirping. I asked Tommy Hill after the game, what did you say to Travis Hunter? Because they had a little sparring match, and Travis Hunter was at Nebraska's bench pointing and yelling, and it got ugly, and he said it's going to be a long night. And Travis Hunter said, you're trash, Nebraska's trash. And they went back and forth. And he goes, after a while, he wasn't talking anymore after that point. So Tommy Hill said, I got in his head early, and I loved every bit of that.
Yeah, Tommy Hill making probably the biggest play of the night. That pick six was really, really crucial in terms of telling Colorado that this was Nebraska's night. That made the score 14-0.
You know, in a game like this, when you get a defensive touchdown, a quick strike like that, the analytics and the data tell you that you're going to win probably 80, 90% of the time. And it played out like that. Look, Nebraska, after that moment, really wasn't in a stressful situation where you felt like the game, even when Colorado mounted a drive, it was still more than a 3-score lead at that point, and you liked where the game was at. The greedy fan in you wanted to see maybe just kind of some knockout blows where you get some big blindside hits on Shedeur Sanders, but he's a first-rounder, and he showed that at times, but Nebraska bottled him up and made his night tough.
Yeah, Shedeur, 23 of 38 for 244 and a touchdown and the interception. He was sacked 5 times. I think that was crucial, especially 4 of the 5 sacks came in that first half.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders, as we know, doesn't want to run it either. I mean, there were probably a couple opportunities where he could run, but he is always looking downfield. And, man, Tony White and John Butler, and you got to figure a guy like John Butler with his deep NFL background, he was licking his chops for a game like this with his back-end defensive players, and they stepped up. The key thing is they didn't let anybody run free, and Matt Rule talked about that. He goes, they're going to get catches, but nobody was just running free where they had the only times we saw guys run free were on a couple kick returns.
Right.
And those were some of you saw the speed of those guys. That was never a factor in the passing game.
Yeah, Travis Hunter, 10 catches, 110 yards, but his long was 28. And as you said in the pregame, minimizing his explosive plays would be key tonight, and that really played out the way you said it.
Between Horn and Hunter, too, those 2 players the week before, I mean, they were so big against North Dakota State, and Nebraska was determined to play coverage and not let those guys beat them. And we saw some blitzes, maybe 5-man rushes, but Nebraska did a lot of their damage with 4 because Colorado was so predictable that they could bring in that, they call it the NASCAR package, where they can bring those kind of edge rusher guys and create havoc. And it was just one of those nights where Tony White really had a great handle on things, especially when Colorado decided just not to run the football.
Yeah, the Huskers go up 28-0 on a kind of a goofy play. It looked like an interception that Dylan Raiola was going to throw, and it bounces up and goes right into the hands of Vermeer Johnson. That really kind of told you what kind of night it was for Nebraska.
Yeah, at that point, it could have been 21-0. You would have felt a little ugly about the first half, but to get that 28-0 lead to close it out, the football gods were kind to Nebraska. It was one of those nights where, like I said, Nebraska was all in with the presentation of what this night was going to be, and they delivered.
What does this mean moving forward? They're 2-0, and obviously they haven't been in this position in quite a number of years.
They're 2-0. The students stormed the field for the first time maybe in 30
years. They might need some work on that, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's a tough operation.
It is a tough get down to the field, and you have to go down those ramps and stuff. It was just kind of a gradual storm the field. I don't know, maybe a light shower of the field.
We called for it to happen potentially on the HuskerOnline show, and one of the state troopers goes, Sean, we're blaming this on you for doing this. I was like, hey, I just suggested it could happen, and it did. But I think for Nebraska, they're 2-0, Andy, for the first time since 2016. and they haven't beaten a non-conference Power 4, Power 5 team since 2016, Oregon, and that was a big moment in this stadium that led to a 7-0 start, that led to a top 10 ranking, and all those things kind of are in front of Nebraska. 7-0 is very much in front of this team now moving forward before they have that big trip to Ohio State, but they have to keep winning each week, and you like where it's at. Rutgers and Illinois are going to be very difficult games down the road, but they've got, I think Northern Iowa is the perfect opponent to kind of play after this game this week.
Yeah, and it wasn't perfect. That's the thing. There's teachable moments. It wasn't, especially in that second half, right? I mean, these coaches can go back and say, yeah, you beat Colorado 28-10, but look at what happened in that second half. They didn't do a whole lot.
And you would have liked to have seen Nebraska really run the ball better, but just the officiating really destroyed the flow of the game. Some of those jet sweep plays and things that were really working, they were getting penalized on those. And some of those calls like took away points. And that was unfortunate, but they can learn from those moments, and officials are going to call games differently. And they called 2 or 3 on Nebraska that maybe you could argue shouldn't have been called.
Yeah, but the bottom line is Nebraska's 2-0. They beat Colorado finally, 28-10. The final score. Next up, Northern Iowa in another night game here at Memorial Stadium, Saturday night, 6:30 on BTN.